Okay, so she's saying she having a problem with the skin near her anus. It says, I will sometimes get small tears around the area and it takes a week or so to heal. I get regular testing done for STDs and etc. But everything comes back clear. It sounds like you have a dis-ease called anal fissures. And look, what's crazy is the thyroid and the parathyroid is in control of your connective tissue. So calcium is what actually binds to the tissues, and not only that, but zinc as well. It binds to the tissues and it keeps your molecular structure together. So what's over the connective tissues and what keeps the connective tissues together is the actual parathyroid. Now, we know for a fact that you got a thyroid problem due to all the symptomologies that you're telling us, right? So now we see that you have a rip in your anus that keeps ripping and tearing, and it takes a while to heal. So we know it's not an STD or a fungus or a sexually transmitted demon or bacteria. It says, I use wipes to clean with, and I am very careful not to wipe too hard. I do not have anal sex. I am at loss for words of what these symptoms are doing and what I got going on with my body. What can I do to lessen the time to heal them? I'm telling you right off back that you have anal fissure. So if you're looking at a large intestine, just to break down the anatomy of the large intestine. So right here is the appendix. This is the appendix tail. From the appendix tail coming to something called the cecum. Now the cecums go into the ascending colon. The ascending colon then goes into something called the transverse colon. The transverse colon comes down into something called the descending colon. Right here is what you would call the sigmoid colon. Then down you have the rectum, and from the rectum you have the anus. Now if you look inside of this anus, y'all, notice you see a tear. Y'all see that tear? That's called anal fissures. This is called the anal sphincter. And the reason why it's called a sphincter, just like the cardiac sphincter or the pyloric sphincter of the small duodenum bowel duct wall, a sphincter just means the closing or opening thereof. So her anal sphincter is ripped. Now, and the reason why it's ripped, her pelvic floor is actually too weak, and she needs to stimulate and increase the muscles of her pelvic floor. All right, so if y'all looking, these are kidneys, adrenals. Now I'm gonna turn it. Y'all see the anus? This is the anus right here. But y'all see these muscles? You see these muscles? This is the pelvis. Y'all see these muscles? These muscles are called the pelvic floor. If these muscles are too tight, when poop or when bowel moves through this, it'll actually rip and tear. And usually your bowel is like this if you're eating gunky food like grains. Grains will literally gunk up because it's a glue. It comes with gluten, spelt and rye and all these other foods. All the glutenin will cause agglutination to the poop, and it will stick the poop together. Plus it yields high fiber. So the fiber harden the poop. Not only do you got glue sticking this stuff together and coagulating the blood, but you also got fiber that's hardening the poop. So now you ain't doing pelvic stretching. You ain't making your pelvic floor wall flexible. So now the muscles are tight around the anus. So it's already a tight ass hole. Now all of a sudden you eating these foods like high meats, gnarly grains, gnarly beans, food that got too much fiber in it that's making the poop hard. So when the poop come through hard and it's all solidified or calcified, and it don't have any liquids in it to make the poop or the stool more softer, it come through and it rips and tears the hole. And we have to realize too, when that anus is so tight right there, when a muscle is constricted, what happens to the blood flow? If I make a muscle right now, what happens to that blood flow? The blood stops circulating to that area. So if you got the pelvis floor or the pelvis wall muscles super constricted and super tight, that means ain't no blood or oxygen making it to these levels. Now, if not blood or oxygen making it to these levels, that means nutrients that's in the blood is not making it to these levels of the tissues either. Now, since you constricting oxygen and nutrients, how you going to keep rehealing that anyway? So that might play a major factor into why the anus is not healing itself. And she's not producing enough chyme. See, chyme will actually break it down, but chyme is produced in the small duodenum tract. It's produced by the hydrochloric acid and what you call mucoglobulin inside of the fungus of the stomach, and it mixes in the duodenum as well. And then you got bowel too. Bowel will actually help it because bowel is created by the liver, but it's stored up into the gallbladder, and this will help break down the fats and stuff like that. And this is where you get opening and cracks and sores on the anal wall, or what you would call the anal sphincter. See that? And this is actually what we call anal fissures. So I can tell that your digestive enzymes is not reacting enough, so your foods is coming out too solid. And you probably got too many big turds coming out. And you can break them things up by eating more hydrative food, more fruits, more H2O, more watery vegetables, more bok choy, more romaine. You see that? More watery lettuces. The best stool softener you have is your watery fruits. So right now, you should automatically switch to a 70% fruit, 30% vegetable raw diet. So stay away from the kales. Stay away from the arugulas. These things are hard and they got complex amino acids in them. And they come with high fiber. Also, if you're going to do the fruits, make sure you skinning the fruits. Take the skin off of them. That way you don't have all that fiber going on, and it can soften your stool and your poop can come out, and now you can finally heal without hard poop. Now, I don't recommend you eat astringent fruits right now because it's going to burn the hell out of that hole. You need to get on YouTube and you need to find out hip mobility, reflexes, and stretching. You can go on my website and you can actually get my thyroid and parathyroid tincture or get my essential granule kit, and that will actually stimulate and strengthen the thyroid and strengthen the parathyroid, but you can strengthen your connective tissue.